Call this meeting to order. Let the record reflect this is a meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Board of Lake County on this third day of September at 9 a.m. The members of the local board are
Anthony Schluter, City of Crown Point.
Deirdre Crosco, City of Hammond.
Nick Hardesty, Lake County.
David Ennis, Lake County.
Chevron, Washington, Gary.
Casey Sullivan, State Excise. Are there any individuals here who wish to voice opposition to any permits on the agenda today? If so, you make sure you've signed in up here. You're signed in. Okay. All those in attendance seeking a new permit, requesting a change of location or ownership, or seeking a renewal after violation, stand with the remonstrators, raise your right hand and take the following oath. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the answers that you've given on your application and any testimony you may give or in response to any questions asked by this board to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You may be seated. Got a motion to approve last month's minutes.
I make that motion.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
I get a motion to approve the automatic permit renewals. Ones with no violations, no remonstrators.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
And I made a motion to silence all cell phones.
Second.
Start with Board 1. We have one violation, public bar and rec, but there is a violation hold. We'll continue that to October. New Julie's Boutique and Cafe, RR 4542594. Just state your name for the board.
Felix Echeverria.
Can you describe your business plan and what kind of business you're opening?
So we've opened up an established coffee cafe, and we are looking just to produce kind of a wine program to go along with that. We're only open in the mornings from between 7 and 8 a.m. weekend and weekday hours until 5 or 4, sorry. And continuing for those hours for a while at least. So it would just be like supplementing morning beverages and the weekends for, you know, wine and that stuff.
I already did the final inspection, so I don't have any.
What kind of menu for food do you have?
Well, we have, we don't have a full kitchen, but we have more of a pastry program that we bring in. We do homemade sandwiches as well as bagels and savory pastries. And then we also have like a bread program and baguettes, charcuterie boards will be offered as well as pairings for cheese and.
She's not doing it justice. We have amazing sandwiches.
Cool.
I want to say that the transformation of that building is truly incredible and the build up is absolutely beautiful. So thank you for
We're excited.
bringing that to the downtown.
For having us.
Any further questions?
I most prefer approval.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Of the sandwiches, what would be the best?
It's Fruto, provolone, and arugula. This morning, about 10 minutes ago.
Cool.
You didn't bring this in?
Next.
Try to make some money back.
All right, board number 2, we have a transfer, South Shore Liquors, DL 4534219. Morning.
Morning.
Can you state your names for the board, please?
Jasmine Tour.
Every vendor, yeah, sounds really good.
As a transfer license, there's no changes to the liquor store. I already did the final inspection, so I've been there. Is transfer of ownership.
Yeah.
Questions?
You've been affiliated with the establishment for a while now, or yeah? Okay.
So you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
You can,
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer.
second.
Those in favor?
All right.
Aye. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Ward 3. The Shades of Time cocktails are 4520186. It is set for status hearing at the commission. So hopefully just one more month of a continuance on that license.
Is there a limit to how many
Yeah.
continuances a business can, and they're at it? Okay.
901 Pub and Grill, RR 4535991. And you're the owner?
Yeah.
Correct. You had a violation last year. Can you explain to the board what had happened?
It was, expired license. We should have got an extension, but and the day after I got the ticket, I got the license in the mail.
Okay. And they're fine. So they have been paid and-
And you haven't had any violations up to that point?
Never. And then I got the first letter, and I always get the letters, and I call and I don't have to come. So the first letter I got last month, last month, I didn't come. And then I got another one, and that's the one I called, and I said, because I was thinking 24. You know, I didn't. The violation was in 24, it's 25, if you guys are here behind. But there is an extension right now. I did put an extension so I could stay open. So I don't know if you got that on your records or not.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
So now, can you tell them that extension goes through, because my license will expire like the 19th of September, I think.
If you apply for an extension, it'll go to commission 2 Tuesdays from now. So it'll be approved at this board
Okay,
and then it'll be set for commission
okay.
and then.
All right.
Is your extension good for 2 weeks?
What's that?
Is your extension have 2 more weeks?
Well, this was last week or week before I did the extension.
Then you should be fine.
Should be fine. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
There's the transfer that's tied with Shades of Time, which also needs to be continued because if there's no license to transfer, then we can't
Right.
hear the transfer. And that's RR 4542303. Is there a representative here for Smoky Bells Barbecue and Bar? RR 4542542 and RR 4542551. Continue that to. Daily Grind Coffee, RR 4542632. New wine retailer.
My name is Gerald Crutcher. This is my wife.
What project?
And then
Did you say Hope Project?
Project.
Okay.
I already spoke to you at your business, but can you explain to the board what you're looking to add to your business as far as, like, obviously your primary focus is the coffees and that kind of thing, but just explain to the board what your business operation is and what you're planning to do.
Well, we are a cafe and ice cream shop. We're open 7 days a week, so we open 7 AM to 8 PM. What we like to do is want to have wine for the evenings and, we're in St. John's, a nice area, nice upscale location that we have. And we're also looking to do, mimosas for buffets on the weekends. We're looking to add on to, we have a full-blown bakery right now that we serve. And we're gonna be adding on some sandwiches and other menu items with the buffets.
Did you decide what you wanted to do with the railing, limited separation, patio? Barriers?
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then you have my contact information, so
Yes.
just feel free to reach out and move forward,
Yeah, sounds
okay?
Are we talking bottomless mimosa?
Maybe.
You can't do bottomless mimosas in India.
They don't?
Mm-mm.
You know.
Trick question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still do a final then.
Yeah,
Once the railings put in, you need to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve pending final.
Second.
those in favor.
Aye.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
time,
guys.
guys. Yes.
Thanks much, Ed. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Aisha Bar Inc. In Highland RR 4542667. Is there a representative here? To continue that to October. The Junction Live RR 4542701.
Yes. My attorney said she had other, I believe it's
Sorry,
the Junction Line.
yes, sorry. I just came in late and I took the oath a little late. Thank you so much.
Morning.
Chairman Amanda hires on behalf of NADT LLC.
Can you state your name? Okay. And that's a new permit, correct?
Yes.
I have your floor plan here. That's it. Are you gonna be a 21 over establishment?
No.
Are you ready for a final inspection at this point?
I believe so.
Construction's complete, health inspection, all that's been in there. So contact me once all the other inspections have been completed, okay? And then we can approve the floor plan for your business.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I was unaware. I thought we were doing that after.
So if I may, it's where the old DC's Country Junction was. What he did is purchase the building, he remodeled it. And so he intends on having events at that location as well. And so part of the delay in the construction of it was just because it was an old building. And so kind of going through it, figuring out what could be saved, what could not be saved was part in most of the delay. We did put the permit into escrow just because of getting those final inspections and everything completed through both the town of Lowell, there you go, town of Lowell, as well as getting out for a final inspection. We wanted to make sure all of that was in place. The ATC did send me the orange sign exactly on the 11th day, so it was up for exactly 10 days. So if I may approach, I do have the affidavit of compliance. So the permit, while being in escrow, is and it was accepted in escrow, it's still within that 90 days to be able to be available for use after a final inspection. So the bulk of construction is complete. He just needs the final sign from the city and the.
Are you familiar with all the rules and regulations with serving alcohol in the state of Indiana?
I'm quite familiar.
Okay.
And you're gonna be carding everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah,
Less headaches that way.
yes, sir.
What's the food menu? The food.
Barbecue.
When do you anticipate opening?
Well, it's been a long process, so we're wanting to. As soon as we have approval from, our inspections and our license, we're gonna get the ball rolling on finding our first,
We put the permanent escrow on August 7th, so obviously we want to adhere to that 90-day deadline. So at worst, be open by November 7th. So coming up very shortly.
So is it gonna be completely different, obviously, than the BC country?
mostly the same.
Okay.
Actually rented it before it closed and ran it. So mostly the same. I don't know if we'll be open every Saturday. But same concept.
Pending final inspection, I make a motion to approve.
I second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And I'll email you when we're ready to have. Perfect. Thank you.
Do you have my email address?
Yeah, they do.
Hyatt Place, Munster, RH 4530378.
Or Jared Topper from Topper Law sits here on behalf of the applicant. I previously had submitted the affidavit posting of the sign, so we should have that. My client purchased the Hyatt over in Munster, I think about 6 months ago. So she's been operating at 6 months, so I think everything's going smoothly. Our hours of operation, I think they're open till 11, on pretty much every night. To open the public, that they don't get.
I completed the final inspection and they have just the bar space. It's not like a grab and go.
So they have
Set
to
up.
technically serve, yes.
Yes.
We did do a final inspection, so I make a motion to approve the transfer.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
RH 4530382, the Cardinal Hotel.
So this is a new hotel that's being constructed in Cardinal Campus in Highland. They plan to have like a 4-seat bar, with a bar area with some tabletops, kind of similar, I think, to what the Hyatt has. Would be open to the public, but really it would only be guests, I think, and then maybe they're hoping that, some of their commercial tenants around there might go there for lunch or something. So obviously, they'll all have to be trained on the rules of the ATC once they get closer to opening, employee permit numbers and everything, and a final inspection team, so.
When is that expected to open?
I think first or second quarter.
Okay.
Next year. They're going pretty good on it. It's 35%.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Those in favor?
Aye.
Yes, sir. Sportsman's Tap, RR 4542762.
It's like, that's the secret door.
oh, we built it.
Good morning, everyone. Attorney Dave Blackswitch on behalf of the applicant. And Jenny Fulbeck.
Good morning. And it's a transfer. I was by the business. Is there any construction projects going on or anything? You're just transferring ownership. Okay. What are your hours of operation? Because I was there according to Google and nobody was there, so I'm just curious.
It's really late morning open,
Okay.
varies in the night. What's the circumstance that you're transferring?
circumstance, the owner wants to sell, I don't know for a while.
Can you work there previously?
I've been a patron there previously for years, and I have another business bar in, Firth of the Dam,
Which one do you own?
Willows.
So he obviously knows what he's doing since he owns another business, and you've kept that Sportsman's open as a frequent patron, so. I, make a motion to approve the transfer,
Pending finance.
pending final inspection. When someone's there.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Do you, yeah, can I get that? And then do you have my email address that
Um,
you can email me when?
you want to arrange inspection?
Yeah.
Easy.
I like it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. They just want some. The corner.
That's it.
Mhm.
Approvals all automatic renewals. Four, five. Green Top Tap RR 450156 is a violation for unlawful gambling, public nuisance, retail gaming operations from last September. Fine paid of $1,000.
Henry,
Good morning.
You are?
Sylvia Forrester.
Can you explain the incident to the board and what you've done to ensure us that that's not happening?
I really don't have excuse except I did not know that you could purchase a board legally. So,
Like football board?
yes, I did not know that. That sounds funny, but
You can buy it through a type 2 gaming distributor.
yes, I do now.
Okay. And so ultimately you weren't doing that before?
No, and I didn't realize that. I was doing that, and I didn't know that until I got in trouble.
Well, that's how you learn, right?
Well, the thing of it is I'm really going through all the business problem because I'm not up to date with everything. I don't even use a computer. I'm the old fashioned with the pencil and paper. We're all gonna be in trouble without that pencil and paper someday. Sorry,
So what have you done differently since?
pardon.
So what have you done differently since?
I buy boards.
She's buying the boards through the distributors now.
Okay.
Anything?
Seems like a lesson learned, what you have to find.
Well, yeah.
I make a motion to approve the next you guys.
I second. Sorry, Nick.
Those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Playos nightclub. RR 4536364.
One,
Good morning. You can State your name for the board, please.
my name is Attorney John Cantrell. I'm appearing on behalf of Players Nightclub and Miss Cooper. I was retained yesterday respectfully, asking you to reset this to the October date if that's acceptable.
The Vermont chairs have been coming for 3 straight months.
I understand that I ordered them a price and they retained me yesterday. Here I am today. Asking for one extension. I understand that if you do allow this extension, I won't request another.
So the extension was granted last month because there are demonstrators here with no response to the letters that were sent for appearance. So we're gonna move forward with this today.
I just object for the record.
Do you wish to speak first, or would you like them to speak first?
I would rather respond.
Okay.
Confused with the violation.
Yeah. Wasn't to public nuisance violations. Okay. Just to use the first one being cheating. Which was a report that. Sent.
Yeah, I read it. I just wanted it to be stated for.
So sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna join Attorney Cantrell on behalf of Player of my club attorney and investigators from Washington.
Okay.
Thank you. And just for the record's clear, if this does go down to the ATC, we would object for the record. We have not been properly given the copies of the documents. They appear incredibly voluminous, and we have not had an opportunity to conduct our own investigation as to what may be contained within there. I understand that while unrepresented, this has been extended a total of, this would be, I'm understanding, the third time. However, I think it would be appropriate, and with understanding the appeal process, most appropriate if counsel for the permittee at this time would have an opportunity to review. It appears incredibly voluminous. We would need several hours to go through it. I don't think at this time we are prepared to move forward with this information. Further, both of us practice almost exclusively outside of this in criminal defense law. We have to review these to see if there are any conflicts related to the information contained in the police reports before we would be able to speak on those. I understand that puts the board as well as the demonstrators coming here and really, inconveniencing everyone. But obviously Attorney Cantrell and I would have ethical problems if there is a particular situation that the city is going to speak on that either one of us has represented or in any way consulted with those individuals that are contained in that report, which would put us at a significant disadvantage. So what we would request is simply a 30-day continuance to the October board hearing. It can be a final, no further continuance on the record. We would just like the opportunity to review these voluminous documents, speak with Ms. Morgan to see if we can receive those in electronic form. And then of course, do our due diligence to see if there are any conflicts before we have an opportunity to address them.
Man,
Sounds fair.
I'm Carl Ward with the city of Gary. We've been coming here, as you noted, for several months.
Yeah.
They received notice of this in July. It was a choice to retain counsel before this week. We're here because the people of Gary are suffering because of the actions of the failure to properly have proper security at this location. And so I don't think we can afford for the sake of public safety to wait another day, much less another 30 days. Again, they did get notice of all this, they made choices. And I would ask that we move forward. We have a deputy chief here, we have other members of our police department here, we have a chief of staff. And they certainly had time to prepare. It was just a choice. This delay tactic keeps them open for longer, and it's just frustrating process.
You guys feel comfortable?
I do. I mean, the reason that they were informed us last month, they weren't here is because they were on vacation. So they're here today. Let's keep going.
Moving forward.
Yeah, let's not move forward.
Okay, we're gonna move forward today.
We request a continuance to review those documents. We do have an ethical obligation to review all of those to determine whether or not we have ever represented any of those individuals that are contained in those police reports. I mean, that's our ethical obligation as attorneys. Ms. Morgan knows that. If you intend to move forward, we need at least some time to review those and run them through our conflicts check. I understand that what Ms. Morgan is indicating, I do. 5 minutes ago and last night is when they were retained. We were retained. And so while I certainly understand both the city's position, I've been through this before with the city of Hammond, in fact, and I understand the positions. But there is a process we as attorneys have to go through. And I understand that while waiting till the last minute to hire counsel was whatever obligation or choice of the permittee, we still have to abide by our ethical obligations.
Again, it's about public safety for the city here. We've had, fatalities here, we've had a lot of shootings, a lot of disturbances, and we just cannot afford to wait another 30 days, especially when the same strategic. So.
I agree. All right, do you guys feel comfortable moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, this is a court of law, so let's keep it pushing.
All right, if I may,
So we have at least copies of the documents?
sure, I can give an additional copy of the documents that your client received. I may approach.
Oh, I have these.
So what we have, here with police reports, but, first I'd like my chief of staff and the chief of the police department to summarize what's in these.
Thank you, members of the board. Excuse me. My name is Ellis Domas, Chief of Staff for the City of Gary. City of Gary strongly opposes the renewal of layoffs and alcohol license due to the troubling history of incidents that have endangered both patrons and the surrounding community. Over the past years, there have been multiple reports of violence, disturbances, and other unsafe behaviors that link to the establishment, rising serious concerns about public safety and well-being of the neighborhood. According to Indiana Code 7.1-3-1, an applicant of an alcohol license must demonstrate the operation of the establishment will not adversely affect the health, safety, and morals of the community. Given the documented incidents associated that Attorney Morgan will bring out about players, it is clear that they are failing to meet those statutory requirements. The continued operation of this nightclub poses an unacceptable risk to our community, and we urge the board to deny the renewal of the alcohol license to protect our residents and maintain public safety. Even more so, a strong emphasis on the incident was well documented from June 12, 2022, in which previous Mayor Jerome Prince had to cite and inflict executive order to have him shut down following the incident, leaving 2 dead and 4 others wounded. These incidents like this and the other additional ones that are documented here in the documents that have been provided to you show a serious pattern. We, the City of Gary, are proud of any of our businesses that function in a safe and acceptable manner, and will continue to support businesses that do so. However, we will stand against any businesses that do not. Then pass it on to Deputy Chief.
Deputy Chief.
Deputy Chief of the Gary Police Department. This location, a serious increase in extra patrols and manpower whenever they operate or open. It is not possible for us not to provide extra services to this location due to the amount of violence that has occurred in the past. No less than 12 instances that we've had listed here since 2022. Some of them resulting in death, sexual assault, firearms incidents, and it is just a burden on the police department to keep one of these locations. Other locations operate in the city, we don't have control there as much. We understand that these things can't happen at locations, but security profile might have activities you have that contribute to these activities.
How long have you served the Gary Police Department?
31 years.
Have you seen business a similar number of police calls, a similar number of violent incidents?
Not a similar number of incidents or a similar number of police call in one location for sure.
Can you talk about your personal experience with calls there?
Well, the calls that I have, the incidents that I have there administratively, where we have to decide how to extend our patrols at night when they have activities, monitoring Facebook and other social media, to see what type of groups or acts they're having there. The relationship between the type of entertainment you have at the location directly responds to the type of violence that occurs there. If you have some entertainment that promotes or entertains with violent lyrics or violent themes, you may attract individuals there who may come to engage in those type of things. You bring to group of people who come for that type of entertainment, as opposed to if you have a symphony orchestra or a gospel festival. Doesn't happen like that.
Are there other factors, precautions that you can take that might prevent some of these?
The entertainment and the type of venue that it is directly responsible for the violence that happens.
We also have Commander Clark.
Hello, Commander Justin Park here, Police Department. I just like to say, I think Deputy Chief hit on the head. It's an incidents that's been associated with this particular establishment. I just wanted to piggyback on the fact that I personally responded to some of the calls that happened at this particular establishment. And I can't stress enough how much this place being open strains the Garrett Police Department as far as resources are concerned. A lot of things that you won't see on this sheet is the times that officers respond to this establishment and do area checks as the club is laid out. We're pretty short staff and we're dedicated officers to play security so that other events don't happen. So it's my position that this place is a danger to the.
You Commander Clark.
Do you have any questions for the officers of the city?
You guys were very thorough. Do you have questions?
No.
Back in August of 2022, Playos made an agreement with the city of Gary through the previous administration to put a safety plan in place. And they were already on probation for the things that are being discussed here today. The safety plan was accepted by the city and acknowledged by the city, and they were allowed to continue to stay open. So now the new administration comes in here and they're taking issue with this nightclub, but the infractions and all these incidents that are listed are something that were rectified previously. If you look on these allegations that the city is making, there's been 2 separate allegations in 2025. That's it. There was one on July 5th and one on July 7th. There was someone who complained on the 5th, someone complained that her purse was stolen at Playos. So I mean, that's something that isn't necessarily in anybody's control. If somebody breaks into a car on the street, and then the lady goes home and reports it as listed in these reports. She went home to Kokomo and reported that her purse was stolen and said that occurred at the establishment. That's really hard to manage and prevent. You can only try to help the police after the fact. But what is being alleged here is something that Playos has already taken care of and already comes to agreement with the city concerning. So they were placed on probation. They complied with probation. They were taken off probation. Now we're essentially trying to relitigate something that was already rectified by the city.
And if I may approach, I'd like to put into the record the letter dated August 1st of 2022 from the prior administration's council indicating that Playos had sufficiently rectified any issues related to the safety of the city and that they were a welcome member of the community. In reviewing the police reports that Ms. Morgan has given to me, these range from 2015 to 2021, completely before the date of the letter. So these are completely immaterial to the claim that Playos is conducting an unsafe business, because in 2022, the city itself indicated that in fact it was not. They had taken significant and corrective action to become a productive member of the community, and their business license was reinstated, and then they were allowed to continue operating. Further, if we look at the documentation that was handed to us a few moments ago, if I can, I don't know if you guys have a copy of it, but you know, some of these are duplicated. So for example, if I may, so 2023, They're indicating there was a theft of a firearm from a vehicle in the parking lot. Well, the gun never went inside of my client's establishment. It stayed in the car where it should have been. Now, whether or not there is a issue of crime in the city of Gary, we're not here to litigate, but we are going to say that that theft did not occur inside my client's establishment. It was in a vehicle. And do we know if it was in a vehicle? No, we don't know any of that because we don't have that police report. We don't know who it was. We don't even know if they were at the establishment consuming alcohol. Further, we have an duplicated indication in May of that year. Again, a theft of a handgun in a parking lot. Now, again, I don't know times, dates, locations, who they may be, but that certainly is not indicative of my client's ability to run an appropriate establishment when the firearms never make it into the club. Okay, and the reason they don't make it in is because my client has security that works, and some are here today, and they work and have worked in the Indiana State Prison, and they are given specific instructions in conjunction with that letter to make sure that individuals are searched, make sure individuals do not bring weapons that they can see into the club. So a lot of these run sheets, essentially from 1700 Grand Street, deal with, in my opinion, and what we're reviewing, you know, for example, male refusing to leave the parking lot, trespassed by officers. Well, my client, I would assume, have done the right thing and get a troubled person out of the club. If they wouldn't leave the parking lot, my client did what she and the city agreed to: contact the police, get this problematic individual removed. Additionally, you know, we have the fact that Gary is indicating that they are having patrols because of large groups outside of businesses. But these reports are from 7 to 4 years ago. None of them revolve around this time period. So these requested lists of service for calls are just that, summaries of reports that I haven't looked at. And so I don't think that we can impute snapshots of information to our client when they've worked to rectify their issues and problems, and they've implemented security. They've implemented these items, and they would love to work with the Gary Police Department in making sure that they are operating an appropriate facility that is beneficial to everyone in the community. They've operated for a long time, and they worked with the city in 2022 and rectified those problems. And so what I see on this particular run sheet, as Mr. Cantrell indicated, only 2 in 2025, and it was male in the street outside of the establishment. Well, the street is not indicative of my client's establishment, that somebody called and said there was a gentleman walking up and down that area with a weapon. Further, the other in July of 2025, that this person got home and said their purse was stolen when they returned home to a different location. I don't know if that's indicative of a culture of behavior that my client is indicating is being ran at her facility. So while I do, of course, think that overall public safety is important, I do think we have to look at it through the lens of what has been completed and what can still be completed. So what was completed is a as you guys have, a agreement with the city of Gary in 2022 that reestablished their business as a productive member of that society. I'm not political. I do not know anything about regime change, mayoral change, or otherwise. But what I will say is, since that time period, it is not the same administration. So of course, everybody comes into office wanting different things, etc., different requirements of businesses. And what my client is simply asking for is the ability to work with Gary Police Department, continue to work with her security that has worked inside of prisons before and is very well equipped to handle this, to show that they can be a productive member of society and they should not have their permit denied when we don't have the underlying reports related to these incidents. The reports that we have are far too old and, quite frankly, are moot by the letter that was issued in 2022. So what we would ask for is a renewal of the permit, and they are happy to work with excise. They are happy to work with the city of Gary. If there are requirements on bodyguards, if there are requirements on hours, they're happy to work through that to show, like they did in 2022, that they can be a productive member of society. And we just ask based on the testimony of the officers today, in line with the letter that has been received, in line with the lack of calls to the location specifically in 2025, we would ask that the permit be renewed and they take steps to work with both excise and the city of Gary to confirm their commitment to a safe and prosperity wise of business. We don't have anything further. We thank you. If the board would like to hear specifically from the security guards, we do have them available for questioning, but we are also happy to take any questions they.
So this is based off of a violation that occurred in 2024, correct?
There was a second public nuisance violation in
In
20.
September.
Right, so can we talk about that specifically? Because I know that the city provided this stat from 2015 to 2021, so sure. Let's ignore the big stat. But let's focus on 2024 to 2025, because there is a list of incidents. So we have the violation for that. So let's talk about what's happened between that violation and present day and what we're doing to correct that. And let's just ignore the Prince administration and the letter, because we fixed that, right? So what happened in 2024?
Sure, absolutely. If I look at the run reports, and I'm assuming, yeah. We have a violation in February of 2024 that an individual stole a vehicle while someone was inside the club. There was no allegation that my client's alcohol distribution to anybody contributed to someone unfortunately coming and stealing a vehicle. In May of 2024, feel free to jump in, there was a female that has alleged to have been assaulted. And that I am told the case itself was dismissed. So there were no criminal charges that were filed or were convictions, I should say. It sounds like Attorney Pat Young represented that individual and that case was subsequently dismissed. In June of 2024, I believe, according to this, again, I don't have the specific report, but it's alleged that there was some sort of sexual assault in the parking lot of the club, which my client was not made aware of, because if I understand correctly, the allegation was made to police sometime later. And she was never informed of that and did not call the police that day. Additionally, listed on here is July 8th of 2024. It looks like her security guards in doing an external check of the property indicated that there were gentlemen or subjects, I should say, in mass in the alley behind the club. And as a result, they contacted law enforcement because they were not welcome, nor were they patrons of the facility.
When the cops showed up there.
And it looks like when the police did respond, there were no individuals that were actually found, meaning they had dispersed between when security told them to leave and when the officers arrived. In November of 2024, it is noted that multiple agencies were involved in a crowd disbursement due to a shooting. Again, without knowing the names, I specifically can't speak to the case. Otherwise, I would have been more prepared in looking it up and discuss the facts with it. Just based on this summary, it indicated that there was a disturbance inside of the club. My clients essentially discharged those individuals from the facility once they became problematic. And then it sounds like they spilled into the street and then multiple agencies. And then of course, the only other two from 2025 deal with a gentleman walking down the street. Somebody called and said he had a weapon. I don't know if that person was ever found. That was July 7th. And then July 5th is when that individual indicated she came home and her purse, she indicated, was stolen. So I think if we look specifically at 2024, what I see, and your point is well taken, ma'am, there's a stack here, right? I don't think we can get around that. Now, I'm not gonna parse out every single, these are parking violations, and it's just a run report of every single thing ever associated with that. But we see it was fixed. When we then move on, we see in 2024, there are some incidents, but I don't see that my client could have done anything different than what she did. She installed security. She had them going around the grounds of the facility. They saw men with weapons. They called the police. Those individuals were gone. When somebody says their purse was stolen, she can't investigate that if no one tells her. She can't look into any of that. Nor whether or not that person was even actually at her facility. There is no way for her to relate that back. When we have a case that was dismissed, right? I understand it was filed, but in a court of law, it's considered to not have occurred. So I think what you will see in 2024, and specifically only 2 calls in 2025, which again, one is about a purse and the other one is about a gentleman that had nothing to do with her establishment. You are seeing that they are working towards back to be in good standing with not only the city as well as the general public around the area. So I would say that they've renewed their commitment as they indicated in the letter, and they would like to continue to be able to move forward. Because here we are in September, we're in September, 9 months in, 2 calls of service that quite frankly have nothing to do with her. Other than her building was there, someone was across the street, and somebody came home and said someone's purse got stolen, but there's no any indication that person was ever. So I would say that she has taken enough steps in order to alleviate the concerns of not only the board, but of course the city. She wants to be a good, productive member of society, a good business, and have a good relationship with both the law enforcement community as well as the city itself. I hope that answered your question.
And you respond. First off, we do admit that, we do have a duplicate, which the attorney cited twice. On May 14, 2023, the handgun, theft in the parking lot. So we admit that we made clear. Commander Clark has a number of things he'd like to share with the board. Incidents that happened since the murders in 2022, the previous administration issuing that letter.
And I think council kind of touched on it. There's been a couple sexual assault cases, that allegedly occurred in the parking lot. Like with the Sayers Club, homeless girlfriend, battered someone. I understand that might have been a shooting taken in the court of law, but it was a call, it happened. Males in the streets with weapons, fights inside the club, shots fired outside. So Playo sits in a community. It's not a business district. Their house is 360 degrees around it. We don't believe that it's fair to the citizens in that neighborhood and here for this establishment to be open. It creates a danger. The type of company that comes there, I mean, it's just dangerous. And there's a stack of calls to prove that. When it's enough. That's just pretty much what I'm saying. So I only want the establishment behind it. And there are houses directly behind it. There are houses to the north, south, and east, and west of it.
Can you talk about how often your 911 players have been closed? Or last year or so?
I don't know exactly how often it's open. I don't know if it's open every weekend. So sometimes it is closed. I mean, that does help when it's not open. So
Just maybe it's like.
yes, yes. And like I said, these run sheets do not reflect the amount of resources that the Gary Police Department contributes in helping to close this establishment when they do have large crowds. These are some of the more significant ones. So on midnights that the club closing and stuff does put a burden on the Gary Police Department.
If I just may briefly, I don't want to volley back and forth and I know you have other things, but I would just like to say this. Who's not here are the homeowners. They're not remonstrating against this facility. If there are houses 365 degrees around this facility, they're not here complaining. They're not here remonstrating, and they could have been. The only individuals that are here, of course, is Gary Police Department. And again, I wouldn't want to be a police officer. I understand what they go through. But what my client by closing has done is exactly what everyone would want an establishment to do, separate their weekends. Make sure that they are being responsible with who they let into the facility. And I would surmise if there are houses that close to the business in a residential entry, I have been here when those residents come and remonstrate, and they're not here. Which means to tell me that at least in 2024, 2025, they have been satisfied with the steps that have been taken at Playhouse. And so I think if we take it all into a whole, I think that we have a commitment to change. I think we have a commitment to the city. I think we have a commitment to being a responsible business owner that serves alcohol in a community setting. And I think that speaking with her briefly, she's committed to that. And I think that a renewal of that would not be against any of the alcohol rules and regulations in so much that she can make changes. I will also note that she hasn't been placed on probation either. So there's not even a stepped up enforcement on this permit. Normally, when we see cities remonstrating.
The permit was on pace.
Okay, it was on pace. Is it still on pace?
No.
So it's off pace. So they have satisfied to the ATC that they don't have the significant amount of violations, and they were taken off pace. And I've dealt with some individuals on pace. It is an incredibly intensive program. It is. And not all of my clients survive pace. And so the fact that they have survived pace, I think then can show they have the capacity for change. And we would just ask that the permit be renewed, and there will be continued discussions with the city of Gary, and if necessary, with the ATC, because they have shown that they can do it.
If I may, with the continuances, the homeowners around it, I have good notice of the date of this hearing, so I believe that's part of the reason why we don't have homeowners here, but they're well represented by the city, by our chief of staff, our deputy chief, and our commander. And we are still concerned about the safety of residents, people visit this establishment, and we don't agree with this 2022 letter that sufficient steps were taken. We still have very active concerns. We believe, as Commander stated, that the reason for the reduction of number of calls in the last year is because she's not open very much. I don't know if Deputy Chief had anything more to add about that, with them not getting open as much.
I do not know the reason that they haven't been open as much. It was just a point that the attorney brought up, and I just want to state that the reduction has been to they're not as been as open as much.
Yeah, and I would imagine, I don't know, but maybe that was part of their strategy to get off the case. Is if they're not open, they're not having violations, and so it looks like it's better run, but it's really just closed most weekends. So.
You guys ready to
What was the last violation they had through the ATC or excise?
2024?
That was it.
2024 was a public nuisance for drugs, and then
One other thing I'd like to have Commander, let's talk about the overall reduction in crime in Gary.
Yes, our homicide shootings year to date are down 30%, in shootings, in shootings, down 26%. And I think our assault rate is around 80%.
Can you talk about what this contributes to?
Yeah, so a lot of that contributes to technology, investigations as far as cameras, integrated camera systems throughout the city, plate readers, things like that. We're able to see a lot of things and a lot of things as they happen or shortly happen. So your resolution text.
Has the Gary Police Department stepped up their enforcement and their standards for what's acceptable in the area?
Yes.
What are the specific changes made from the violation that occurred in 2024 and now?
Yes. Okay. She's nervous. They've added security, specifically those individuals that have worked or are working at the Indiana State Prison, just because they're more familiar with high-risk situations potentially, and the ability to handle most unforeseen circumstances. Additionally, I've just confirmed with her that they really haven't been closed that much. They have been closed some for personal reasons, but not as the city indicated to avoid pays or things of that nature. Because as you know, if the permit's not active for 30 days, they'd have to go into escrow. That hasn't occurred. So they've been open. There's just been no calls. Additionally, they changed the entertainment completely, which I believe has significantly, I know the city indicated, entertainment was a source. They changed that in 2025 after the nuisance violation. I think it's part of the reason there are no calls for service as we see. And overall, I would say just running a tighter ship, and making sure the people that are invited into the establishment are truly ones that want to be there, not cause trouble. Is there anything else that you would like me to?
Questions?
The other thing is they do not let anybody in the establishment, at any point with any, tobacco products or drugs or search. I believe the nuisance, had to do with marijuana being present.
Let me ask how the search are conducted.
I was just thinking.
Drug sniffing dog, or how do you search these heads and so for drugs?
I do have some security personnel present if you'd like to hear from them.
And we'd also like to know how much security, how many security personnel she has now compared to 2022, and the training of the ones reported in 2022 versus the ones we are now. How many are present on any given Friday, Saturday? Some of those with owner. Security personnel.
I'd like to just start with this, if I may, if I just like to start with security personnel, who they are, et cetera, and then we can get, of course, to these questions, that would be fine.
Hi, I'm Officer Chalupa. I work for the Indiana State Prison.
Officer Crockett, Indiana State Prison as well. I'm Sergeant Williams, Indiana State Prison. It's my team to go over. We get thoroughly, we go through everything when it comes to that building. I'm at the door myself. So you're not getting the door with no ID. We search everything, purses, we search everything. They come to the metal detector, we pat them down, nothing's coming in. And anything happen, you get out. So we really beefed up security. And then if we do have special events, we make sure we cover. We have these 7, 8, 9 people. Yeah, stepped up security.
We do random rounds in the parking lots, the bathrooms. We all work together as one. If one moves around, we stagger around and make sure we got each other back. One of us is also outside at all times at the door to make sure they stay in line, make sure that whatever they're trying to bring in goes back to their car. After the party's over, whatever the event is, we clear out the parking lots. We don't let them hang around. Let nobody drink, smoke in front of the building, none of that.
We make rounds inside the club as well. If we see anybody doing anything, we know they're not supposed to do, like smoking or even attempting to fight anybody, we escort them out the club and they don't come back.
And gentlemen, how many years have you been working at the Indian?
I've been at 10.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.5, going 4.
I've been there 7.
And so you gentlemen are familiar with the policies and procedures of searches,
Yeah, thank you, security.
and you guys are familiar with how your situations working in the prison?
Absolutely.
And you have, and do you have the ability when you're running the searches to communicate effectively with those related to the team? Yeah.
Yes, I'm female officer, 2 hours.
And so you have a female officer, available for pat downs of female patrons, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that's specific, you were specifically brought on because of your background and training, is that right?
Yes, that's me.
And have you been given a directive by the owner that there's a zero tolerance policy?
Yes.
And you guys have adhered to that?
Has we been there?
And when did you first arrive?
We need to reopen.
In which, 2022? 23? Any questions of these gentlemen? No.
I have a question. So I'm confused. You said your time of service for 3.5 to 2 years. Are you saying you've been employed?
Still employed, but y'all still working.
So my question is, have you been with Quails that long?
No.
Because that means each of you would have been employed in June 2022 when the shootout was.
We've been employed at previous. I started working for them when we were in 2022.
2024 is when the steps of security at Quails began.
Yeah, when you're going,
What's
it's a whole different change.
Okay, when in 2020?
I'm not sure whenever he reopened, I heard all my changes.
Do you work whenever they're open? Like, are you there every Friday, Saturday?
We all
Thursday?
get the.
So how many of you three are there on any given day when they're actually open?
If it's a big event, like on the Saturdays, it's more than 3. It's like 5, 6. It's more of us, not just like.
They're all
Y'all check.
employed by the Department of Corrections.
Yes.
We still didn't really get, you said you do pat downs of how do you prevent drugs going in because.
We search their bags.
Search, yes.
If I see them trying to do it outside, I take it back to the cop. They ain't coming in with that.
But, you know, a joint that sounds your pinky.
That's why I gotta watch everything. Gotta make
Okay,
sure.
that's, so pat down is.
Yeah, pat down go a long way. Yes, it does. You 30, pat down, shake down, yes, it does.
I know different. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you don't have drugs.
We have, no, no.
One more question, you have secondary employment clearance from the United States Police to be corrections officers and do security at a like.
Well, if you do outside of work, you can do that. If you do, that's not the issue. But that's outside of work. You do a second job.
Even if they pretty says, as long as it's not in the garage.
Okay, I just wanna note for the record that, secondary employment requires agency approval and must not interfere with the primary responsibilities or use state resources. The specifics are governed by Indiana Code 4-2-6-9 at 42, ISC 1-5-5, which address conflicts of interest and outside employment for state employees, including those in the Department of Corrections. So you haven't gotten in writing that you have clearance.
I think this is getting a little bit further than. Well, I think that you're asking them legal questions in an effort to undermine what they're doing. And while I'm sure you can note that for the record, I don't think it's inappropriate during a liquor board hearing to discuss with them legal
You
conclusions.
open the door by saying.
And as
Fine.
it was mentioned, this is not a court of law. So I think that if you're gonna have some questions specifically related to their employment, you should probably have whoever represents them here. They were specifically asked what they do. And so if at any point in the future you need whatever you may need, you may get it from other entities.
And I'm gonna repeat that by him saying, they're touting the fact that they're got the experience with the Department of Corrections, but it's important to know whether or not in doing the shop playoffs, their compliance with the rules that govern their employment with the Department of Corrections. I'm not asking him to interpret the law, I'm asking him if he got the clearance, which is not a legal question, is do you have a piece of paper that says you're cleared to work this job?
And they said they have.
No, that's not what he said.
They said they have permission.
That's not what he said. He said it's fine if you work outside job. He did not say you have the clearance for secondary employment specifically at this kind of establishment. Those are two different things.
I think that's completely outside the scope of whether or not there's security there.
I think we have the information that we need to move forward. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
More.
Let me talk. Something that's really cool. What are the options? Because it is like, we're going to 2 years, right?
Mhm.
You know, 2 years of nothing. We get somebody 1 year.
It's been done before.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're pending a violation.
We're done.
You're sitting. And I'm just search for anything. I just like this and that was it.
I can't make motions.
And you can't. Mhm.
Okay. So I move to grant the renewal for 1 year. Give you chance to prove that you can do better.
I second that.
Those in favor,
Aye.
those opposed, nay. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we're- He ain't here, bar, RR 4500859. No representative. Who are you guys here for? Yes.
Danny Seeds. 4526388.
What city?
Monster.
Monster.
Yeah.
Yes. That was an automatic renewal.
It's a renewal for an escrow permit.
Yeah,
Oh, it's already. Everyone to be here for
everybody did, but if you don't have a violation, you don't have to come.
it. Well. Good to hear. Thank you.
Sorry, conversation on my seat.
Nope, but yours was an automatic renewal too.
All right.
Sorry, you had to sit through the whole thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I give you money?
Yeah. It's why I'm better with the name of the business.
Oh, it is, 425 Top Notch Management Corp.
Believe that was automatic too.
What city?
Gary.
Automatic renewal.
All right. Interesting day.
All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make that motion for adjournment.
Second.
Those are favor.
Okay.